you mute. Whoops. File. All right, let's get started. You should be open to page 12. What's your question, Sorboni?
What's the book?
We are in Unit 6. You need your Unit 6 Wonders book. You need your Unit 6 Wonders book and open to page 12. We are reading a story called Super Tools. I don't have my Unit 6 book. I'm really not sure where it went. So I'm reading out of this bigger book, so I'm not going to be able to show you guys the picture. So you're going to have to follow along in your book.
Miss Roboski, I lost my book.
Well, honey, you need to find it so that you can follow along, okay? Maybe your mom put it somewhere. Ask her.
I lost my sister.
Okay, so we are going to start on page 12. The title of our story is Super Tools. Everyone's page, it's going to be really little, but everyone's page should look like that. Super Tools. It is on page 12.
Miss Roboski,
Yes.
how much page we on?
Page 12. We are on page 12. Okay, so let's read our story. It's called Super Tools. While we read, our essential question this week is how can we work together to make our lives better? So our whole story is going to be about how we can work together to make our lives better. So let's read this story and find out. Flip your page so you're on the very first page of the story. Flip the book so you're on the very first page of the story, page 14. And look at those pictures. What kind of story does this look like? Does this look like a fiction story or a nonfiction story? Raise your hand. Does it look like this story is fiction or nonfiction? Amika, what do you think?
Non-fiction?
You think it's nonfiction? Does anybody else have a different answer? Anybody else have a different answer? Sorboni, what do you think?
Fiction.
What makes you say fiction, Sorboni?
It doesn't look real.
Because the pictures, their pictures aren't real. I'm looking at this first page and I see that the pens and pencils in her cup are getting out and walking around. And that kind of stuff doesn't happen in real life. So, this must be a fiction story. It's actually a fantasy story. So let's read a little bit, or let's read our story. I'm at the top of page 14. It says, a few weeks ago, Lucy's mom and dad brought a new computer home. This is so cool, exclaimed Lucy. Lucy used the computer all the time. But not everyone was happy about the new computer. What's your question, Akil? What, Akil?
Which page are we on?
We are on page 15 now. We are in the Unit 6 Wonders book. So now I'm on page 15. Page 15. I'm reading from the top of that page. It says, Lucy didn't know it, but her writing tools felt sad and useless. One day while she was at school, they had an emergency meeting. Lucy hasn't used us in weeks, cried the markers. Can we demand to be used? Asked the crayons. No, that would be rude, but we can remind her how great we are, said the pencils. Yes, they all agreed. Let's remind her. So all of the pens and pencils are getting together, and they're going to remind Lucy how awesome they are. So go ahead and flip the page.
Miss Roboski,
Yes, Christian?
page that we're supposed to be on.
Now we are on page 16. Page 16. Top of page 16, I'm reading. It says, after school, as soon as Lucy came through the door, she grabbed a glass of juice and went right to her computer. She had to write a report about birds. The writing tools watched and waited when Lucy, just a minute, I'm in the middle of reading. The writing tools watched and waited when Lucy was done and she printed her report. Yes, Christian.
Are we on the math book?
Nope, we are in the Wonders book. Wonders Unit 6. Okay, page 17. That night the writing tools got busy. They worked together to make a picture for Lucy. The pencils made a sketch, the markers drew the birds in the tree, the crayons drew the sun in a blue sky. The picture was so good you could put it in a frame. Go ahead, flip your page. So what are all of her writing utensils doing? Mariah, what's your question? You have to hit your mute button. What's up, Mariah?
What page we on?
We are on page 18 of our Unit 6 Wonders book. What are all the pencils and pencils doing? What did they just do for Lucy? What did the pens and pencils just do for Lucy? What did they do? Straboni, what did they do?
They drew a picture.
They drew a picture for her. Why did they do that? Why are they doing that? What made them want to do that? Akil, why did they do that?
Because it was for grandma, so they got very busy and so this wait, what was the question?
Why did her pens and pencils draw a picture for her?
Because it was for her grandmother and because it was for her grandmother.
Yeah, she got a new computer, right? She got a new computer and she was using it so often that she wasn't using her pens and pencils anymore. So they felt lonely and sad that they weren't being used anymore. So they got together one night and drew her a picture. So now we are on top of page 18, and I'll read from there. It says, the next day was Saturday. Lucy woke up late. Then she went to get her report. Lucy gasped. She couldn't believe her eyes. Who drew this great picture, she asked. Did you draw this? Lucy asked Mom and Dad. You know the answer to that, they laughed. Stop joking, you drew that great picture. That made Lucy think she wished she had drawn it. It's fun to draw, she said. So now Lucy's remembering how much she likes to draw. She's remembering how much fun it is to draw, which is what the pens and pencils wanted. So go ahead and flip your page. So you're on page 20 and 21. It says, Lucy hung the picture in her room. Then she took out her pencils, crayons, and markers. I'll draw my own picture for the report, she said. Lucy and her pencils, crayons, and markers worked together. They drew a super picture. From that day on, Lucy kept drawing, and her writing tools felt happy and useful. So go ahead and flip your story your book to page 25. Flip your book to page 25. And we are going to fill in that chart. Whoops. Ugh.
Mr. Browski,
Yes.
I found my Unit 6 book. I've been following along the whole time.
Oh, okay. Open it up to page 25.
Okay. I am on this one. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so on page 25, at the very top, well, it's technically on page 24. At the very top, it tells us that a fantasy story has made-up characters or events that could not happen in real life. It often has a problem and a solution. So we are going to talk about what the problem in our story was. What was the problem in our story and what was the solution? What was the problem and what was the solution? We are only going to fill out the top of that chart, and then we will do the bottom of that chart on Friday. So who can tell me? Who can tell me? On page 25 on that chart, who can tell me what was the problem in our story? What was the problem in our story? What was the issue that the writing tools were having? Who can raise their hand and tell me? What was the issue that the writing tools were having? Wasi, what was the problem?
The girl didn't want to write clearly.
Julia wanted to play on her computer, right?
Yeah.
And how did that make her writing tools feel?
Sad.
Yeah. The problem in our story was that the writing tools were sad. The writing tools, whoops, and I'll show you this in just a second, were sad. So in that very first box on that page, you can copy this down. The writing tools were sad. That was the problem. Give me a thumbs up when you are done copying that. Everybody done copying that?
No.
Okay, finish up. Good. So the problem was that the writing tools were all sad because they wanted to be used, and the little girl wasn't using them anymore because she got her new computer. So what did the tools do? What was the solution? What was the solution to that problem? What was the solution to that problem? Boris, what did the writing tools do?
They are sad.
They were sad, so what did they do? What did they do to remind the little girl, Lucy, that they were there?
The parents do it. Lucy a picture.
Yeah, they drew a picture for Lucy. So they drew a picture. That was the solution. They drew a picture for Lucy. So you guys can copy that down. Yes, Mohammed.
I'm not done with the...
Well, then copy it. You can see them both.
Muhammad, I can't see Mr. Mouse.
Keep yourselves muted, please. Give me a thumbs up when you are done. I see it, Mariah. Looks good. Thanks for showing me that. Is everybody done copying that? Okay, keep going. That's okay.
I'm done.
Okay. So if you are done copying it, you can go ahead and log off. We are going to do the bottom half of that chart on